Good morning and welcome to the Sunday morning service at the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship in Laguna Beach. My name is Dara Skorecki, and I will be serving as your service associate this morning. It was supposed to be Oakley Frost, but he is not feeling very well, so I will be your service associate this morning. The land on which we join together in worship is the unceded ancestral territory of the Hashman and Tongva tribes. We offer our gratitude to the First Nations for their care of and teachings about our earth. As our guest speaker today, we are delighted to welcome back Reverend Celia Young. As most of all of you know, Reverend Celia has been our guest speaker several times recently, and we are delighted that she has agreed to lead our Sunday service here at UUFLB a number of times in the coming year. Reverend Celia's theme this morning is facing loneliness as a human condition. Reverend Celia has agreed to stay after the service this morning for a few minutes for further discussion and to answer any questions. Our Zoom and audio-visual text today are Don West Jr. and Pam Floodman, and not me. Our music director is the talented Carol Cole. I would also like to acknowledge and thank both personally and on behalf of the congregation. All those others who make these services and the work of this congregation possible, including our board and our worship committee. Paul Bogdan and Candy Strock for preparing refreshments and otherwise making the building ready for us each Sunday, and Paul for, among other things, overseeing the rentals of the building and presiding over our Zoom at noon meetings at each Monday. Also, all of you who assist in helping us feed the homeless at the alternative sleeping location on Laguna Canyon Road each month. There are always more opportunities to work together and more to be done. So if you are looking for a way to become more involved, please reach out. For any of you who are new to our community, please connect with us after the service if you would like to be added to our email list so that you can receive advance notice of each service and other upcoming events. Connecting with each other is the way in which we can build community as a strong base, which we can go out and make a difference in the world. Each Sunday, wherever there is a service held by a Unitarian Universalist congregation, a chalice is lit. The flaming chalice is the only symbol of our faith. I invite Reverend Celia to light our chalice here in the sanctuary. Thank you, Reverend Celia. If you have joined us this morning by Zoom and have a chalice available, I invite you to light it as well. Our chalice lighting words this morning are from Reverend Steve Stock. We light this chalice to celebrate the inherent worth and dignity of every person, to reaffirm the historic pledge of liberal religion to seek that justice which transcends mere legality and moves forward the resolution of true equality, and to share that love which is ultimately beyond even our cherished reason, that love which unites us. If there is anyone here this morning, either in person or on Zoom, who has not previously introduced yourself and would like to tell us your name and where you are visiting us from, if so, please raise your hand and we would like to recognize you. Anyone on Zoom? No? Okay. Anyone here in the fellowship that is new? I don't think so. Throughout the service this morning, if you are here with us in the building, I invite you to come forward and light a candle here in the sanctuary in recognition of whatever you are carrying in your heart as you join us for worship today. At UUFLB, we are a welcoming congregation. Whoever you are, whomever you love, no matter your age or gender, your ancestral or ethnic background, your immigration status or political affiliation, and whatever sincere questions you bring with you today, whatever has brought you here this morning, we welcome you to our community of mutual caring and serious intent to grow as spiritual and ethical beings. On the slide that Dawn will put up for us is information about upcoming services here at UUFLB, and hopefully I can read it. On April 14th, we will have Reverend Tom Owen Toll. On April 21st, we will have Dawn, who will be coming back, who is also playing AV today from and lastly, on April 28th, we will have a Social Justice Sunday with, thank you, Nicole Ramos al otro lado. I don't actually know what that means. I Did I miss something? I missed something. Oh, and we have announcements. Some announcements. I am not. Okay, announcements. One of them is a board meeting that has been, it's usually tomorrow on the the first Monday of the month, but it actually will be turned to the second Monday of the month on April 15th. Because tomorrow multiple people will be gone due to the total solar eclipse that will be happening. And also we have a pledge drive that we will be having meetings on Zoom about. And also just the normal things that we usually have as announcements, which are Zoom at noon every Monday. And every fourth Thursday, we have, the last Thursday of every month, we have feeding the homeless with the alternative, the first Thursday of the month. Thank you, Candy. The first Thursday of every month, we feed the homeless through the alternative sleeping location. I invite Celia to do something.
Good morning. We're having a little spontaneous moving things around. Yeah. As surely as we belong to the universe, we belong together. We join here to transcend the isolated self, to reconnect, to know ourselves to be home on earth, under the stars, and link with each other. Let us worship together.
Please stand if you wish and join with us as we sing hymn number 354 in the Black hymnal, We Laugh, We Cry. For those of you who are joining us by Zoom, the words will also be on the screen.
We cry, we live, we die, we dance, we sing our song. We need to feel there's something here to which we can belong. We need to feel the freedom just to have some time alone. But most of all, we need close friends we can call our very own. And we believe in life and in the strength of love. And we have found our need to be together. We have to give, we have our thoughts to receive, and we believe that sharing is an answer. A child is born among us, and we feel a special glow. We see time's endless journey as we watch the baby grow. We need to hear imagination freely running wild. We dedicate our minds and hearts to the spirit of this child, and we believe in life and in the strength of love, and we have found a time to be together, and with the grace of age we share the wonder of youth, and we believe that growing is an answer. Our lives are full of wonder, and our time is very brief. The death of one among us fills with all the pain and grief. But as we live, so shall we die, and when our lives are done, the memories we shared with friends will linger on, and we believe in life and in the strength of love, and we have found a place to be together. We have the right to grow. We have the gift to believe that peace within our living is an answer. We seek elusive answers to the questions of this life. We seek to put an end to all the waste of human strife. We search for truth, equality, and blessed peace of mind. Then we come together here to make sense of what we find, and we believe in life and in the strength of love, and we have found our joy being together, and in our search for peace, maybe we'll finally see, even to question truly is an answer.
Let us take a moment to remind ourselves why we come together as a community. I invite you to read these words together when and if it feels right for you. If you are on Zoom, please unmute your microphone so we can feel the power when we join our voices together. The words of the unison affirmation will be on your screens. Please join me in reading. Love is the
Love is the spirit of this fellowship,
and
and
service.
service is its law.
This is our
This
great
is our great covenant.
dwell
Dwell
together,
together in peace,
the
to
truth,
seek the truth in love,
help one
and
another.
to help one another.
We have now come to the time in our service to briefly share the important events that have touched our lives in the past week. Our joys, when shared, are magnified, and in sharing our sorrows, we provide the support and care that are vital for all of us in community. During this, it is as much a blessing to be able to give as it is to receive in this self-governing and self-sustaining community. We recognize that it is a responsibility to do both well. Our fellowship depends on the love and generous contributions from our members. We are empowered by the innumerable gifts of those who join in covenant with us. Time, compassion, humor, and financial contributions. And all of our gifts, generously given, are needed for this fellowship, for its continued good work in the world. During this time of offering, Paul will pass a basket, or Candy in this situation, will pass a basket within the fellowship. The information on your screen, which is also included in the email announcement of each service, also provides additional ways in which you can give, either electronically or by sending a check to the fellowship. Please join us now, standing and forming a circle as you are able to sing to each other words of sincere gratitude. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live.
From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live.
Our speaker this morning, Reverend Celia Young, was born in Hong Kong, raised in Taiwan, and has lived in the U.S. since 1971. Her degrees include a BA from Fu Jen University in Taiwan, an MBA in marketing from Michigan State, an MA in counseling psychology from Pepperdine University, a Master of Divinity equivalent, and she is an ordained interfaith chaplain. Wow. Reverend Celia is the founder of Authentic Living Ministry, and for over 30 years, she has used her life's experience in her consulting and coaching work to advance social justice in Fortune 500 corporations and nonprofit organizations around the world. Please join us in welcoming Reverend Celia back to our fellowship today.
Good morning. This morning's reading is a poem called Bryant Park at Dusk by Jeffrey Brock. Floodlights have flared on behind and above where I sit in my public chair. The lawn that had gradually darkened has brightened. The library windows stare I'm alone in the crowd, far from a family I miss. I'd almost say I'm lonely, but lonely is worse, I recall, than this. Loneliness is a genuine poverty. I'm like a man who is flush, but forgot his wallet on the nightstand when he left for work in a rush, and now must go without food and coffee for just a few hours, more than he wished. That's all. He still has the wallet. It is bulging. It flowed through his brain like a fish, but maybe it's fitting here. Money for love, and it's a terrible simile. A couple blocks from Madison Avenue, where commodities are dear, where all around me rich skyscrapers woo the impoverished sky, having sent on their way the spent commuters who stream uncertain by. And as for this whole splurge of a city, isn't money at its heart? But I'm blathering now, forgetting my subject. What I meant to say at the start is that I noticed a woman reading in a chair not from me. Silver hair, calm, she stirred a hunger hard for me to define, perhaps because she doesn't seem lonely. And what I love...
If you want to drop this,
Start eating more of these.
starving ourselves, eating.
She closed her eyes and threw her head back, book open on her lap. Perhaps she was thinking about her story, or a fall air, or a nap. I thought she would leave me then for pastimes more suited into in the dark, but she is on intimate terms, it seems, with the rhythm of Bryant Park. For that's when the floodlight came on slowly, somewhere far above my need, and the grass grew greener again, and the woman reopened her eyes to read. This morning, leading into our meditation, I want you to close your eyes and listen. Forget about the busy, noisy sound of the city. Can you hear birds singing? Crickets chirping, or leaves rustling in the tree? Can you see a bee buzzing around and pollinating the flowers? Can you recall the raindrops on the roof the other night? Do you remember catching a rainbow on the way home? Breathe and stay in this peaceful place for a little while. Thank you. I chose this topic of loneliness this morning, not because I have all the right answers. I'm just a little bit braver to explore it openly with you. 2 weeks ago, I tripped and fell in front of a restaurant. When I got home, I felt a burst of loneliness. While I have friends who stay on the phone with me and made sure I was all right, I still could not stop the lonely feeling. This loneliness has to do with being alone without anyone physically there. I felt this loneliness under my rib cage. It is an empty spot. Nothing and no one was there. I could not help feeling sorry for myself. And I'm aware that I have dear friends who love me and support me. I also know that I have various communities to lean on. I am not really alone. But this empty feeling won't go away, but adds to more pain. This experience triggered me to search for answers. What I found is that loneliness is universal, an unavoidable human condition. Sooner or later, we'll encounter this feeling. Looking around, I noticed that it seemed that there are more lonely people as we become more modernized. Technology has shortened the distance between all kinds of people, but it doesn't seem to create closeness. I imagine rare moments when a family actually sit down at the same time for dinner, but each person is on their smartphone, as if being electronically connected is more important than the real flesh and bone connection. Maybe this is a quantity versus quality issue. Emile Durkheim, a French philosopher widely regarded as the father of sociology, lived from 1858 to 1971. He came up with a comparison between mechanical versus organic solidarity. I don't particularly like the terms he used, but the concept he presented offered me some insight. To him, solidarity means how individuals exist in their social network. He noticed how society has changed from an agricultural economy to a modern-day economy, and how our collective life, or how people belong, and what society was becoming is shifting. Pre-modern solidarity, or Durkheim called mechanical solidarity, was geographically based. Your interdependent connections were mostly the effect of proximity, or restricted to limited factors such as family or tribe, location, a small number of social conditions that are accessible to your area and socially acceptable according to your cultural norm or collective consciousness that were determined by geographical or tribal solidarity. We can feel interconnected with our similarities, but the chances of being lonely probably are very small. Modern solidarity, or Durkheim called organic solidarity, as a result of industrial and technological revolution, however, transcended the geographic and ancestral tie. As a result, was less involved, offered less intimacy. As the world gets closer, we are increasingly dependent on the labor of others to get things done, according to the capitalistic economic structure. As the range of travel capacity grew, social connections are less based on proximity, but more about economic interdependence. Our social sphere became the result of market interdependence in our diverse roles, not family. Although intellectually we know that our lives are interdependently connected, but the speed of connection make us feel separate and alone. This issue is not which society is better. There are some pros and cons for both type of Durkheim's solidarity or society. Looking at the pre-modern or mechanic solidarity, the proximity and permanence of the tribe created a communal identity, belongings, and shared history that is quite valuable to the health of the individuals and assumably society. We were all able to enjoy this intimacy in depth. We know we are forever tied together and we belong. It takes a whole village to raise a child like me. However, since tribal cultures tend to look inward, the possibility for growth and progress and diversity is quite low. And if there is any conflict within the tribes or between the tribes, can stay alive through generations. It is like holiday dinners are often the time when old wounds flare up, or like Hatfield and McCoy. On the other hand, modern or organic solidarity offers unprecedented diversity and much higher possibility of growth and progress, particularly demographically, since increasing population size and economically producing wealth. This market-driven social change has lifted the population's living standard. However, the ability to have in-depth shared history of pre-modernist tribes is significantly low. This is too easy to gloss over the fast pace and increasing number of points of contact and lose the depth of any connection. We are becoming more individuals and forgetting that we are interdependent. The modern society makes it easy for our loneliness to pop up, especially when families are spread out chasing market opportunities. And we think the electronic connection is enough. Durkheim, followed by many other sociologists, had drawn the attention to how industrialization and modernization have impacted mental health and the increase in suicide rate. Maybe because we're not satisfied by the speed and number of connections without intimacy. This missing connection seems to point to our loneliness. If you want intimacy, you will probably need to lose some individualism. For those who are transplants and immigrants, loneliness is often more profound. I have lived in the US for over 50 years now and have adjusted to the culture here quite well. But I still feel like an outsider sometimes, homesick, especially during holidays. Home used to be a physical place where we grew up. But the world is moving so fast that many of the so-called family homes are not there anymore. After my parents became refugees, escaping the communist war in China, the home they built in Taiwan was never truly their home, since most of their families remain on the mainland. This sense of displacement continued in me when I landed in this new country. Since the home is where loved ones are, people became my anchors and roots. After losing my parents and my life partner, I felt utterly lost. Intimate connections takes years to build. I'm grateful that I'm surrounded by a group of caring friends and my UU community who became my anchors. However, when we get older, losing family, life partners, and friends become inevitable. For those who live alone, this lonely feeling is more pronounced and was intensified by the recent pandemic. And this modern culture seems to have a stigma against loneliness. It seems to preach that we should all strive to be self-sufficient individuals. We don't need anyone else. Loneliness is a sign of weakness. So we pretend we're not. In reality, we have been silently hungry for intimate connection. This need is our deepest human nature, regardless how individualistic we have become in this modern world. In the article, Not Escaping Loneliness, faith leader, teacher, and author Tyler Kleberger explored this loneliness in depth. He asked us to consider that loneliness is inevitable and that being lonely sometimes is a gift. This is what he wrote. As a human, you'll be next to, around, and surrounded by billions of peoples and creatures in a massive universe that you share. Yet, you will go unnoticed by the vast majority of them. This is an inevitable smallness to your life. The world is not arranged for your preference or satisfaction. You are all you have. Being comfortable in your own skin is a wonderful sentiment. You are your own singular person. The only experience you have is the one that comes through your eyes and your mind, and you can be in conversation with numerous beings or surrounded by crowds of people, but in the end, you still only have you. You can't see, experience, or feel the world from any vantage point but your own. Loneliness happens in the average moment of every day, and we cannot completely share our lives fully with anyone. No one is capable or qualified to completely understand and connect with anyone. No one can fill up what's missing in us. Kleberger said that there are three options to deal with our loneliness. The first two are our reactions as a result of facing our cultural stigma. First choice is to pretend. We go into denial. We won't talk about it, acknowledge it, or just hide our feelings in drugs, alcohol, work, or any other fixes. Number two is to compromise. We avoid being alone, keep jumping from one temporary connection to another. It is like engaging in a serial one-night stand. When we don't realize is that no one else can fill the hole in us, not only is the grass rarely greener on the other side, but sometimes we are so afraid of being present in our own grass and mud, which is familiar echoes of our soul. Number three, acceptance. Finally, this is a strategy to accept the smallness of our individual lives and embrace the inevitable reality of feeling alone and the possible benefit of such an experience. And ask ourselves, can we be okay with our own company? If the answer is yes, we will reap the benefits of solitude. It is like the woman with silver hair in the poem at Bryant Park, content with herself and her book. It allows us to see our true selves. If we run away, we'll never know ourselves. Liking our own company is a blessing. First, we have to learn to accept ourselves as who we are. We're not here to please anyone else. No one else can fill the hole in our hearts anyway. To keep our best company is to stop looking at other people's gardens and start being content and seeing our own. Having come to this insight, in my head, I know that the loneliness is normal and I'm never really alone. But in my heart, the pain and emptiness in my chest won't go away. So my Zen teacher reminded me that the goal is not to stop feeling lonely, empty, or in pain, but to hold my experience lightly in my open hands. Because these feelings are temporary. Trying to resist would just make me feel more pain. She reminded me that I'm much larger than the feelings. But by fully experiencing my pain and loneliness from flowing through my open fingers, I might feel like I'm part of something larger than myself. I'm no longer just a singular person Fleaberger wrote about. Buddhist chaplain Nobusaku Sera wrote, Buddhism teaches that suffering occurs when people are isolated or detached from wholeness due to ego-centeredness. Thus, we are released from suffering when we realize we're part of wholeness, or we are wholeness itself by connecting with something beyond ego-centeredness. It is this sense of connectedness that we need to value and remind ourselves of. This connectedness is not just a one-way street, but rather an interactive and multi-directional chain that fosters wholeness through encounters with precious people and specific matters. I believe that wholeness does not fall into the realm of the world that human beings have formed. It is life itself beyond, but including the world. It is the infinite universe. UU minister Reverend Forrest Gilmore wrote, our seventh principle may be our Unitarian universal way of coming to fully embrace something greater than ourselves. The interdependent web expressed as the spirit of life, the ground of all being, the oneness of all existence, the community-forming power, the process of life, the creative force, even God, can help us develop the social understanding of ourselves that we and our culture so desperately need. It is a source of meaning to which we can dedicate our lives. If we seriously practice our seventh principle, we will know that we are never alone. These feelings, whether it's loneliness, sadness, or even joy, are all temporary. We need to fully embrace them and be present with them. It is like the author sitting at Bryant Park. Being lonely is like a man who's temporarily poor while leaving his wallet at home. He's lonely only in that moment. But then we need to remind ourselves we are much larger than these feelings. The practice is to be present, be open, but let them all go. The polarity between wholeness and emptiness is this. We are parts of one system. We cannot possibly be alone, but according to Buddhism, we're also empty, non-existent, and invisible comparing to the vastness of the universe. In the end, loneliness and connection are parts of the whole. We are like the holograms. Being parts of the universe, we are always connected to the mystery. The universe is boundless. As an individual, we are insignificant and small, but being parts of the universe, we're also vast and boundless beyond ourselves. Here's another Buddhist saying, alone together, together alone. As an individual, we're all alone, but as part of the universe, we're all connected. We are cradled by the vast universe we're part of. This is the ultimate love we receive. Here are some tips I have on how you can deal with your loneliness. Number one, learn to be curious about yourself and learn to like yourself. Two, accept your loneliness and let the experience flow through your fingers. Number three, grieve your fantasy that there will be someone perfect out there to fill the hole in you. Number four, invest in real relationship with others. Go deep, not wide. Number five, turn your loneliness into solitude. Number six, go outside and feel your connection to nature. Number seven, Remind yourself that you are forever connected to the infinite universe. Before I close, I had to play a music video by Kermit the Frog. It is called Rainbow Connection. What it meant to me is at the depth of our human need for connection is the voice in us where our spirits are already connected. The rainbow represents dreaming and finding that spiritual connection. May it be so, blessed be.
Please stand if you wish and join with us as we sing hymn number 108 in the Black hymnal, My Life Flows On, in endless song. For those of you who are joining us by Zoom, the words will also be on your screen.
My life goes on in endless song, above earth's lamentation. I hear the real, though far off hymn that hails a new creation. Through all the tumult and the strife, I hear the music ringing, sounds of echo in my soul. How can I keep from singing? What though the tempest round me soars, I know the truth it liveth. What though the darkness round me close, songs in the night it giveth. The storm can shake my inmost calm, while to that rock I'm clinging. Since love prevails in heaven and earth, how can I keep from singing? When tyrants tremble as they hear the bells of freedom ringing, when friends rejoice both far and near, how can I keep from singing? To prison cell and dungeon vile, our thoughts to them are winging. When friends by shape are undefiled, how can I keep from singing?
Now is the time for us to extinguish the chalice here at UUFLB and within our homes. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of the community, or the fire of commitment. These we keep in our hearts until we are together again. If here you have found freedom, take it with you into the world. If you have found comfort, go and share it with others. If you have dreamed dreams, help one another that they might become true. If you have known love, give some back to a bruised and hurting world. Go in peace.
Let us remind ourselves that we're part and participants of the universe. Let us go forth from the quiet of this hour, encouraged to strive towards faithfulness to the best in ourselves, in others, in the whole world.
As I indicated earlier, Reverend Celia has agreed to stay for a while to answer any questions that we may have. So after we sing our closing song, feel free to grab a cup of coffee and join us with Reverend Celia up front, where our laptop is set up for a joint discussion with both persons here in the fellowship and on Zoom. Now let us stand as we are comfortable, form a circle, and join together in our closing song, Let There Be Peace on Earth.
peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with earth as a mother, we are family. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my solemn vow. To take each moment, live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Have a lovely day.